And it's now time for the Morning Watch with Mr. Dylan Toussaint. Before we jump into it, let me remind you that the Morning Watch is brought to you by the Ministry of Economic rather, and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership, economic growth, and sustainable development.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you're going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, the Massa Mark remark. Was an apology necessary? And in the second watch, Champs Roundup. Oh yes, Champs Roundup. And so for our social media question we ask, what were the best parts of Champs 2023 for you? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and the YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
Good morning, good morning. Today's I quote is an island quote, and it says, long run, short catch. It may take a long while for you to be caught and punished for wrongdoing, but you will be caught one day.
Good morning, Japan.
Good morning, Sir Toussaint. If you ever know what came in my mind, just know.
Tell me.
Oh boy, SSL, but I mean,
SSL.
Yes.
Not Champs.
Not Champs. Sorry.
I wonder why SSL came in your mind, Jukan.
We'll come back after this break.
All right, my brother. The first watch me back.
No problem.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, April 4, packed with inspirational stories and talent-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the rain testing Menticize Listeners Pick Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we talk with Renee Stewart, her testimony of God's deliverance. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with Pastor Anne-Marie Wright of the Peckham New Testament Church of God in Clarendon. Oh, this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. April 4 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Tell me how you feeling. Everybody feeling. Show me how the gun to me cheese. But I just something when me like. And if the cheese make it nice, would I never pick another choice? Cause you make a live to me cheese. So mine get fun when I Easter. You will on no pizza. Slice the cheese, 1, 2, 3, seats. Jamaica to gorilla said, so me a live to me cheese. But I just something when me like. And if the cheese make it nice, would I never pick another choice? Cause you me a live to me cheese.
You work hard to make Jamaica a first-class destination. Isn't it time you receive the 5-star benefits? Retire smarter with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a portable plan that also provides your family with financial security in case of your untimely death. It's easy, affordable, and accessible online. Retire and relax with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Visit twps.myguardiangroup.com or call 876-927-4105. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
He was one of the 12 apostles. He is notorious for betraying Jesus by disclosing Jesus' whereabouts for 30 pieces of silver. Who is this man and why did he do it? Tuesday, April 4 on The Rock. Join host Bishop Hero Steve Blair and guests Angela and Homer Slack as they discuss the topic Judas Iscariot. That's The Rock, Tuesday, April 4 at 10 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101. What does a committed man look like? Does he really exist? Join us for the mailbox as we jump into discussion this Wednesday, April 5 for Men with Staying Power, The Committed Man, with guest Michael McAnoff-Jones and your hosts Kevin Bailey and Courtney Morrison. That's the mailbox this Wednesday, April 5 at 5:30 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday in Saturday Live, 1 to 5, April 4, packed with inspirational stories and talent-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the rain-testing Menticize Listener's Pick Edition. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2 minutes at the evidence, we talk with Renee Stewart, her testimony of God's deliverance. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with Pastor Anne-Marie Wright of the Peckham New Testament Church of God in Clarendon. Oh, this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. April 4 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Tell me how you feeling. Everybody feeling.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Massa Mark was not about race. Massa Mark was not about color. Massa is always about an attitude and the style regarding power. And that is how I used the term. End of quote. Now, this was said by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, as he reportedly insisted that he would not apologize for his Massa Mark comment during his closing budget speech. Was an apology necessary? If so, why? And if not, why not? Well, to help us answer these questions, we have online Mr. Lloyd B. Smith, Editor-in-Chief of the Western Mirror, and Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang, Social Commentator. Good morning to you both.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right, good to have you both with us. So, gentlemen, just to ensure that we are on the same page, I share with you that my understanding of the word apology, and I'm here quoting from a definition, an apology is a spoken or written expression of one's sorrow or regret for having offended, wronged, injured, or failed someone. Having said that, gentlemen, what are your opening thoughts?
That's not the only definition of apology, you know.
No, I know. I'm just reading one for you. You tell me other shit that you might know. All right. What are your opening thoughts on our topic for discussion this morning? Beginning with you, Mr. Smith.
Well, the fact is that when one uses words have basically two ways of coming across. One is what we know as denotation. In other words, the literal meaning of the word. On the other hand, there's what is called connotation, whereby a word can take on various other meanings. And in this case, while Dr. Clark may argue that he was using the word in a definitive way in terms of his understanding of what the word means, the fact is that having used it in the context of political bantering, I'm sure he wasn't being complimentary of Mr. Golding, then clearly the connotation would have been otherwise. And in this case, it would suggest that Mr. Golding was behaving like a Bakramasa, in other words, a white plantation owner who in the past brutalized, ostracized, raped, dismembered, exploited blacks during the slave trade. And even to me, if that was not his intention, the fact that that connotation would have been there, I would have thought that the gentlemanly thing to do would have to be to apologize. It would not have diminished his stature in the society. It would not have made him less of a man. It would not, in the final analysis, I think, affect his political capital. And in fact, I think it would have increased his overall image, because Dr. Clark is one of the most respected of the politicians we now have in the House. And I think that if he had apologized, his stocks would have even gone up further in the eyes of most well-thinking citizens.
Okay, stick up in there, please, Mr. Smith. Let me bring in Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang before we touch the break. Mr. O'Brien Chang, your opening thoughts.
Apology can also mean apologia, a formal written defense of one's opinions or conduct, as in the famous apology of Socrates. By the way, when Mr. Golding called Bobby Montague a little boy, remember that? The ombudsman requested that he apologize and pay a fine. He refused. All those people writing columns now and saying Nigel Clark must apologize. I don't remember anybody criticizing Mr. Golding's conduct.
Therefore, what?
Mr. Smith, did you criticize the conduct? I am amazed that why did nobody say anything about Mr. Golding when he called Montague a little boy? And the ombudsman at the time was an official position, of officially sanctioned position. And before, previously, everybody used to follow what the ombudsman said. Mr. Golding refused. And that essentially killed the position of the ombudsman. The outrage I hear now, these people outrage about Mr. Clark's comment that Mr. Golding sounded like a master mark. He didn't say he was one. He said he sounded like one. Didn't sound like Market G. I'm amazed at the difference of the reaction now. I'm sorry, written outrage.
I'm sorry, Mr. O'Brien Chang. Could you stick up in right there? We're open a break. Hold that thought. You'll be right.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Crystal Clear and Sharp Vision Ultra Clear is a total natural herbs formulated to activate the adult replacement stem cells in your body, sending them to the eyes to repair the damaged cells. Take 1 teaspoon daily in hot water and watch the improvement in your vision. To get yours, call Hafco Herbs 876-540-8871. That's 540-8871 or WhatsApp 533-0462.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco. Bashco. Be everything where you need. Bashco. Quality service guaranteed on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco and gives you more. Yeah, Bashco. Get furniture for your house, then linen everything for your kitchen, rug, smokes and more at Bashco. The store that gives you more. Bashco.
Breast cancer is real. Cervical cancer is real. Heart attack and stroke are real. And so are pregnancy complications. As a woman, if you are hit with one of these critical illnesses or complications, your whole life can be turned upside down. Total Woman Insurance Plan gives you real insurance protection for up to 15 major critical illnesses, life insurance, and other benefits, including free cancer screening. Get serious about your coverage. Get real protection with Total Woman Insurance Plan from Sagicor Life.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we're looking at the Massa Mark remark. Was an apology necessary? And in so doing, we have online Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang, social commentator, and Mr. Lloyd B. Smith, editor-in-chief of the Western Mirror. Before the break, Mr. O'Brien Chang, you were telling us your opening thoughts on the matter. Continue.
Yeah, I'm saying, if Mark Golding was asked to apologize by the ombudsman for calling Bobby Montego a little boy, did not apologize, and nobody demanded an apology. I don't remember any of these people writing columns. I don't remember Mr. Smith asking for an apology. And suddenly now, Nigel Clark said, you sound like a master mark. Didn't call him a master mark. Said he sounded like one. And everybody saying he must apologize. And you tell me why. Which is worse? A white man calling a big grown black man little boy, or a black man saying this white man sound like a massa. No, I am astonished at the difference, at the outrage at Nigel Clark, and the total lack of any comment by any of these persons about when he was asked to apologize by the ombudsman. I'm going to ask the question here. Is it because the white man can say one thing and nobody says anything, but the black man always has to bow to the white man? That's the question I'm going to pose for everybody.
And Mr. Smith is here to respond, I'm sure. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Your response.
I think it was Nelson Mandela who said that, and if we have to go down the route of an eye for an eye, then we will all eventually be blind. There is a growing tendency in Jamaican political culture, and it is very frightening, in fact, whereby both sides, both the PNP and the JP supporters, seek to justify any misbehavior, any thing that is done that is not acceptable, on the basis that, well, you did it, so I can do it. And I don't necessarily subscribe to that. In the context of Mark Golding calling Bobby Montague little boy, I wouldn't necessarily see that as a racist comment. It was certainly demeaning, and I cannot recall the context in if that happened. If Kevin can sufficiently.
It was inappropriate either way, Mr. Smith.
It was inappropriate.
And you judge that by the ombudsman.
Undoubtedly so. But what I'm saying is that I'm trying to recall, was that in Parliament or outside of Parliament? Because I think we have to look at the context, because everyone knows that in Jamaican politics, all sorts of barbs and very nasty and insulting remarks are hurled at opponents on the hustings. And in that context, it becomes part of the course. My contention in this case is that this particular outburst of Dr. Clark was in the confines of what is supposed to be an honorable house. And it is in that context, I think, that most well-thinking Jamaicans reacted the way they did. I don't necessarily, therefore, agree with my very good friend Kevin that, what we are looking at here is equal in every respect. Yes, what Mark would have said was reprehensible, but I don't think it comes up to the level of when you are describing a Jamaican white man who was born here, whose father, Professor John Golding, contributed tremendously to the country's, especially in the area of disabilities and orthopedic surgery, and was known for his philanthropy and his commitment to Jamaica. I don't know if a similar, sort of comparison can be made. I think in the context of those, and I think what sort of surprised many persons too is that who the comment was coming from. Because as I said before, Dr. Clark was seen as one of those politicians that was of a certain caliber, right? And what we now see is that he has descended to the same level as others who hurl barbs and very nasty comments at one another. That's the point,
Yeah,
Dr. Clark should have taken the moral high ground because he is highly respected and revered. He was, and it's unfortunate to me because I have the greatest respect for Dr. Clark. I see him as one of the most promising young politicians that Jamaica has produced over these many years. But this thing that he did the other day has left a big question mark over his head.
All right. I hear Mr. Brian Chang chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
What kind of logic is that? Lord Nigel Clark says Mark Golding sounds like a master Mark. Where did his father come into this? Nigel Clark said Mark Golding is a master. And how would his father that even apply? He said the man sounded like a master Mark. And people are saying Nigel Clark is dissing the man's father. What kind of logic is that? It's totally illogical. You say, man, you say, look at your son. I say, oh, you said my father, master. That's crazy logic. And I come back to the point. I think all the respect he has for Nigel Clark. He said he has no respect for Mark Golding. And I'll come back to the point. The ombudsman, surely a well-thinking Jamaican, with an official position, requested that Mark Golding apologize. He refused, and not a single comment was made by all these people asking for Nigel Clark to apologize. It is clearly a double standard where the white man can say and do anything, but the black man has to hold his place and watch him tongue.
Let me ask you.
Clear as day.
Mr. Brian Chang, let me ask you.
Yes.
The comments by the finance minister, were they deserving of an apology?
He gave an apology. He gave an apology, a full explanation of what he was saying and the context, and a very convincing apology, I must say, well researched, showing it that Martha, an apology was... Hold on, let me tell you something, where Mark Golding get himself in trouble. Not every white man is a master, Master is an attitude. when you have a black man can sound like a master, but the white man sounds like one. It is worse because of slavery. Mark Golding was in a unifier, reconciliator. His language, little boy, little girl, damn fools. It is his language and attitude why Nigel Clark said he sounded like a master.
I said Mr. Golding apologized. Did
Mr. Golding apologized for this? Yeah, he gave me
for the full comment.
I should have said.
Should the finance minister also apologize for his comment, Mr. O'Brien?
I said the finance minister gave his apology, explained why he said, and he said, I did not call the man Master Mark. I said he sounded like a Master Mark, not like Marky G. Now, Mr. Clark is his own man. He gave a full apology. I found it very appropriate and explaining what he did. And I'll tell you this. If Nigel Clark comes now and bows to these people, he will sound like a wimp because he gave his full explanation. And I come back to the point. Why is it nobody wanted Mark Golding to apologize? When the ombudsman said apologize, nobody said, Mr. Golding, apologize. The ombudsman has said you must apologize. Not a sound, not a word was uttered, not an editorial, not a column. Why? Nobody wants to address that situation.
Yeah.
The ombudsman asked for an apology. He said no, and not a word was uttered by anyone. Why? Is Mark Golding free to say whatever he wants? And Nigel Clark, the people, you must apologize. I say it is clear roast breadfruit racism. And apologetically I say that.
Mr. Smith?
I totally disagree with Kevin. I think what he has done is to skew the argument in a way as to make it look as if we are in a racial war. And that is unfortunate because he keeps saying this white man referring to the other
but the argument, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, I'm so sorry, but the argument is that the racist argument came up from the from persons responding to the comment made by the finance minister.
Yes, and that's
where the racism came up. Yeah.
Yes, I am coming to that. But what I would insist in saying, if every comment that is made out there is one is going to demand an apology, then it will be a never-ending story. I'm maintaining that in the context of Parliament, that is where I'm going, because the Parliament is supposed to have honorable persons of honor. And it goes without saying that a man or woman of honor, if he or she has offended, if this had been done many, many years ago in a British Parliament in the 17th or 18th century, both men would end up in a duel outside. The fact of the matter is that we must contextualize things. And I don't recall, and if I'm wrong, then I say mea culpa, if that comment was made about little boy in Parliament. And
why did the ombudsman answer an apology?
I've heard worse comments made.
Why did the ombudsman answer an apology?
Either side of the house, outside of the house, worse than what Nigel or Mark Golding has said. And I've never heard anybody ask an apology.
Why did the ombudsman ask for an apology?
We have to set an example in the House of Parliament. Youngsters growing up, young Jamaicans growing up, they must learn civility, they must learn good manners, they must learn courtesies that are to be extended even to one's enemy or opponent. And it is in that context, I think, Dr. Clark should have apologized to show that there is that level of stability that must be maintained in the Honourable House of Parliament.
Mr. Final word.
The Ombudsman was officially sanctioned. Apparently, Mr. Smith had no respect for the Ombudsman. And I say it again. If the Ombudsman asked Mark Golding to apologize and he refused, and nobody had a problem with it, by what?
Okay.
What judgment is neither supposed to apologize?
Tell you what, Mr. O'Brien, Chang, I have to apologize to you for intervening right now because we are totally out of time. But I want to thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us. Interesting discussion. Have a productive and safe day, gentlemen.
All right, no problem. Bye, Kevin. Have a good day.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Chang Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:30.
Breast cancer is real. Cervical cancer is real. Heart attack and stroke are real. And so are pregnancy complications. As a woman, if you are hit with one of these critical illnesses or complications, your whole life can be turned upside down. Total Woman Insurance Plan gives you real insurance protection for up to 15 major critical illnesses, life insurance, and other benefits, including free cancer screening. Get serious about your coverage. Get real protection with Total Woman Insurance Plan from Sagicor Life.
Taste the cheese for every moment, this is the season. And there could be no other reason. One thing will bring the family and friends them closer. I must taste the cheese, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. One taste is all you need that you never let go. Taste the cheese, 1 in a million, you know how we go. Just can't get enough any more than one slice. Taste the cheese, make all the moments then nice.
Easter's never the same without tasty cheese. So go ahead, share those special moments with Tasty Cheese, the cheese for every moment.
How can you save? Saving can seem like a dream for many at the best of times. But here are a few ways you can kick off your saving journey. 1. Open a savings account at a regulated financial institution. 2. Develop a budget. 3. Track your spending.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
With your Visa debit card in hand, you can do it all. Pay for all your expenses and win amazing rewards like a US $7,000 home makeover, a trip for 2 to any Copa Airlines destination, plus US $1,000 or a staycation for 2 at Sandals Resorts, plus bi-weekly prizes of air fryers, gas, or supermarket vouchers. Every use of your Visa debit card gets you closer to winning. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Guyana importing stones from Jamaica to meet local demands. And 45 million payout stands after bullet leaves woman blind. In the Observer, body of Florida toddler found in alligator jaws after search. Oh boy. And then, man on drug forgery rap blames bad luck. And in Loop News, sick children, UHWI bound as Bustamante Hospital, admissions increase. And also, JPS advises of some major service disruptions that are to come. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What were the best parts of Champs 2023 for you? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and the YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Juicy,
at the shrimp patty, bro. Shrimp patty, whoa. Careful, don't burn up your mouth. Juicy, hubby shrimp patty. One bag of flavor, them fling panny. Love it, freshly baked, the flaky crust. Make me full, me good, the gas a bus. Shrimp patty, whoa. Juicy, of the flavor you love. High cheese or color, whoa. Juicy, at the shrimp patty, bro.
A juicy happy shrimp patty you love. Get it today, island-wide.
If you're a farmer or a fisher folk, this one's for you. Sagicor AgriCare Plan. With AgriCare Plan, you can get affordable insurance coverage for you and your family. Life insurance, critical illness coverage, or health insurance for as little as $1,700 every 3 months. Visit SagicorAgriCare.com to learn more. Farmers and fisher folk, get the insurance coverage your family deserves today with Sagicor AgriCare Plan.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
The world is changing and so should you. Diversify your career and get local and international certification in 2 to 6 months at Distinction College. Start online and face-to-face class in medical assistant, medical lab tech, pediatrics and psychiatric nursing, ECG tech, home attendant, hairdressing, makeup, nail tech, call center, supervisory and events planning management, cashiering, media broadcasting and travel tourism. Register this week and get free subjects and free courses. No subjects required, no age limits. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Ocho Rios and St. Elizabeth. Call us at 876-356-4167.
He was one of the 12 apostles. He is notorious for betraying Jesus by disclosing Jesus' whereabouts for 30 pieces of silver. Who is this man and why did he do it? Tuesday, April 4 on The Rock. Join host Bishop Hero Steve Blair and guests Angela and Homer Slack as they discuss the topic Judas Iscariot. That's The Rock, Tuesday, April 4 at 10 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101. What does a committed man look like? Does he really exist? Join us for the mailbox as we jump into discussion this Wednesday, April 5 for Men with Staying Power, The Committed Man, with guest Michael McAnuff-Jones and your hosts Kevin Bailey and Courtney Morrison. That's the mailbox this Wednesday, April 5 at 5:30 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday in Saturday Live, 1 to 5, April 4, packed with inspirational stories and talent-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the rain-testing size Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we talk with Renee Stewart, her testimony of God's deliverance. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with Pastor Anne-Marie Wright of the Peckham New Testament Church of God in Clarendon. Oh, this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. April 4 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Tell me how you feeling. Everybody feeling.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jukal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What were the best parts of Champs 2023 for you? Jukal?
All right, so I do have some responses here from our listeners on WhatsApp, mostly. Nicole says, all of it was good, and Karifta is going to be greater. Monica says, best Champs moments is KC's Nkrumah, his historic record. Let's see who else is here. Auntie Pam says, I enjoyed Champs 2023 and very proud of all the athletes. I was a happy bandwagonist as I screamed and cheered for every athlete who won a race. The 9.99 seconds and 10.92 was my highlight though. So big up to Alana Reed and Bawaji and Krumi for those times. Let's see who else is here. Pearly says, for me, it was the runner from Heidel who fell, got back up, and won her race. Same here, Pearly. That was my moment as well. My favorite moment from Champs. Let's hear what little Renee said today via voice note.
This part of Champs was not the best, but the part that got me the most, it was when Eddie Henry is no longer the person who holds the cup.
Marsha from Kingston says, my most memorable moment was when Kaden Johnson from Heidel fell over the last hurdle in the steeplechase. And as I shouted, get up with my horse, I saw this true champion get up and run with everything to win the race. That's just some of what we have here. There's so many more, but we can't take a lot today. But yeah, man, our Sister Ingrid just said, Heidel High getting the trophy.
Yes.
So surprised.
Edward Allen not get to the champion.
But the girl who fell over the last hurdle, though, that is something that is very commendable.
Yeah,
How she fell, got up, and still won.
Yeah.
I thought that was a life moment for me. So even when you fall, you still can get up.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Quite a remarkable chance. Thank you very much, those who responded. Interesting comments there. All right, as we segue into the second watch, records were broken and the personal best times bettered. There were prizes and surprises, highlights and lowlights from this year's Champs. And so in this, the second watch, it's Champs Roundup. And in so doing, we have joining us Mr. Andrew Green, sports analyst, and Mr. Hubert Lawrence, also a sports analyst. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you both with us, sports analysts and enthusiasts, whatever the word is. But anyway, you're both enthusiastic about sports. Now, generally speaking, gentlemen, how was Champs 2023, especially in terms of the organization, the attendance, the time scheduling, and the overall vibe? Beginning with you, Mr. Lawrence.
I thought it was Champs back to normal. No Champs 2020, COVID-19. Restricted attendance 2021. Sort of an in-between Champs 2022 with some people still cautious and staying away. But this year's Champs, almost a full stadium on the last couple of days and the energy back to normal. So in that regard, fine. Scheduling, I thought that the Friday schedule needed to have the running finals they have on the schedule at the end. 6 o'clock through 9:30, by and large, qualifying races for the next day.
Was that a change, Mr. Lawrence, or that's how it has been?
That's the same as it was last year. The change came last year where they tried to unravel doubles like the 100, 200 used to overlap.
Right.
But they tried to pull them apart in accordance with international convention. And also they want to spread the income out. So they put some of the big events for Champs early in the week in the hope that in time it would pull fans out earlier and spread the take. I'm table tennis in my other guys. And so that's not a lot of sponsorship there. So you want to pull that towards ISA table tennis, ISA volleyball, those other sports who don't have big sponsors like track and field does. So I like that idea, but I think Friday has to end with a punch. So I thought on those two areas, Champs back to normal, and the schedule could use a little more tweaking, especially for Friday night.
Mr. Green, your take?
Thank you. I agree with my friend Hubie. Champs back to normal, and we really enjoyed it. But I saw some glaring inefficiencies. We hats off to Issa, but there were some glaring inefficiencies, which was really, quite frankly, embarrassing as people watched on the world stage.
Okay.
For example,
you want to tell us that those we can explore that?
official walking across the track, while the 800 semis, was going on. sort of a thing nonchalantly, causing disruption in the whole thing. The assistant starter. I mean, you know, these you can't be doing that at this stage. The class 4 girls 70 meters hurdles, you know, were too high. You know, coming back, I went to Gibson McCook relays, and the 80 meters was not really 80 meters, sort of a thing. And these things, I mean, it was really the low point for me of Champs.
Okay.
And
So,
the
well, on that point of you know, low points, Mr. Lawrence, what about you?
Yeah, that 80 meter, this is the 70 meter hurdles girls class 4. And I must say, I watched the hurdles crew. This is a group of officials dedicated to moving and reconfiguring the hurdles because they've got different heights and distances there to set up for the 7 classes of spring hurdles. I've watched them all season, and they've been flawless all season. I'd love to know what was different about this week just gone, where in the class 4 sprint hurdles, they made a mistake in configuring the hurdles and had to do a rerun later in the meet. So, and as for the gentleman walking on the track, I haven't seen that in a long, long time.
Oh, you saw that as well, Mr. Lawrence?
I saw that as well. But
that one missed me. I didn't see that.
That one is a random occurrence that I've been watching Champs a long time.
Yeah.
And haven't seen that Champs that I can remember before last week. And the hurdles, that hurdles crew, I think is a fairly new group, but working flawlessly all season. I'd love to know what part of their preparation went awry to cause what we saw for the girls class 4. So, you know, those two were weird, and I'm, you know, the earth is human, but those were weird.
Well, I don't know if you both mentioned about the attendance and the vibe, the general vibe. Mr. Green?
Yeah, man, Champs, the usual Champs vibe. And, you know, what made it so intriguing too is that the pundits were saying it's going to be a nail biter for the boys' championships. And
ended up being the girls.
And the girls won as well. You know, it's always down to the wire. You know, there's a few points separating winners from losers. So persons were there with eager anticipation, looking forward to it. They, you know, in Chromie doing the 9.99, spurred on a lot of persons to be wanting to see more. The 10.92 by Alana. I mean, people were just there wanting more and enjoying the spectacle. Big up to Grace, you know, for their continued sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Mr. Lawrence, you wanted to comment on that, the attendance and the vibe?
I did early. But
you did? Okay.
Yeah, but that's just
the vibe was up, eh?
And I saw a lot of reunions, people who hadn't come out last year and the year before. So they couldn't come in 2021. They chose maybe not to come in 22. But back to normal, reunions all over, not just schoolmates, but people who competed at the same time, people who used to watch at the same time, and they've come to Champs from all over Jamaica and all over the world just to be in this place. It's a special, the word cathedral is used in sports, sir, to describe a place that really is a home for the event, and the stadium is a home for Champs. People came home, saw their long-lost friends, and it was brilliant.
Okay. All right. What were the main highlights, would you say, Mr. Green and then Mr. Lawrence?
Wow.
2023.
I tell you, man, that I can't stop talking about the 9.99. You know, the first that has ever been done at Champs, you know, a schoolboy dipping under 10 seconds. Of course, Darnell Hughes had the 10.12 that he set back in 2014, and that was eclipsed by Dr. Speed Bowaji Nkami in Krumi, and also the 10.92 done by Alana Reed from Haddale, eclipsing Veronica Campbell Brown's 21 or 22-year world record. You can correct me. I think in 2001 she did 11.13, and this is the first athlete to go under, female athlete to go under 11 seconds. Awesome. I mean, I could speak also about Magati High getting their 4 medals from St. Elizabeth. And it was, I mean, they don't even have a field to train on. And really good. Mount Alvernia in Montego Bay, winning the 4x1 class 4 girls. And Alia Foster winning the class 1 long jump. Camperdown Britannia Johnson, the new class 1 shot put record. She smashed it. And the last one I'll mention is the Holy Childhood's Abigail Wolf. Holy Childhood, class 300-meter winner. First gold medal ever for Holy Childhood. I like when these things happen. It's not just the big boys and the big girls must shine. The dark horses must also come true. And these schools did very well. Yes, in addition to
Lloyd, your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. The Wednesday night hour where Mitchell breaks Natalia Goo's class 1 record. Mitchell is Homewood for 29.42, the record standing from 2010.
Yes.
In that same session, the discus record goes up to 57.42, Shadrika Williams Homewood. And in the same session, round about the same hour or so, the first sub-10 and the first sub-11. Lots of debate going in about whether or not these things could happen over the last few years. Reed to go 10.92, that's a big woman time.
Yes.
If she wanted to, she could come back to champs next year. She's just first year class 1. And in Pune, the debate going on for several weeks, could he do it? What are the numbers? Until he did it, only 8 sub-10s up until March 31 in the history of track and field. All of them by men who are over 20. 5 of those at high altitude. He is 19 this entire year, and Kingston is 57 meters above sea level, low altitude. So that hour and a half or so, and the discus girls, the record went back and forth in qualifying between Williams and Abigail Martin of St. Diego.
Yes.
And then in the end, Cedrica Williams, after doing well last year, winner class 2, winner class 3, took control and broke the record again in her last year at champs. That hour of track and field was top draw.
Yeah. The Calabar KC lane crossing incident.
Yes.
And the subsequent rulings, and even more subsequent rulings. Your take on that, gentlemen, Mr. Green and then Mr. Lawrence.
Boy, I mean, these things really muddy the water, Teams are eager to win, and sometimes, they say by the hook or by the crook. It wasn't looking good. I watched it. I could be wrong, but it looked really deliberate to me. And we do not need any. I remember.
It looked deliberate, Mr. Green?
Yeah, it looked deliberate to me. I mean, it's like a football. It's like Messi going towards the goal. And a man hold on for them jersey to draw him down. That's what it looked like to me. And I remember the sad days of boys' champs when I used to run for St. George's College. We had a KC Calabar tussle, which as a result, the organizers had to ban KC and Calabar from champs for several years. Clarendon College was so happy they could have won champs as a result. But we find that these things happening and we have to nip them in the bud.
What about the ruling that was made, Reed, the KC runner, initially and eventually?
I think that we should have, the organizers should have acted with more ferocity where the thing is concerned. I think he got away, a pat on the arm.
The KC runner.
Hubert agrees.
Mr. Lawrence, your take?
Yeah, not deliberate. People make missteps and so on. And if you look at the replays of races straight on, you often see people veering to one side or the next. So
for the record, you are saying, Mr. Lawrence, you don't think it was deliberate?
I don't think because people make missteps all the time. That boy, Kimani Gordon, they call him past that Calabar. I'm not seeing him in a straight line race deliberately try and interrupt the progress of anyone. So But let me start somewhere else. I thought that could have worked to be just like 1981, and I thought that the team managers for Calabar and the staff down the bottom were admirable in their
very well
to what could have been a very bad situation.
Yeah,
I want to single out Coach Barger from Calabar and Jeremy DeLissa from KC, the long jump coach, who first went to make sure that Clark was with KC management, who were trying to restrain him and calm him down, and then Brenton walked the Calabar boys away. I thought the staff there, Coach Barger and Coach DeLissa, were excellent down there in deflating what could have been a real melee, really nasty looking situation. Could have happened. With respect to the ruling, the young boy Clark was restrained. When the misstep took place and he was interfered with, the young boy Clark goes across to Gordon goes to apologize to him. He chucks him in his chest.
Right.
And then another time again. By that time, the team managers are on the move, dampening the situation. And it looked to me as if there were people by the fence of the bleachers who were encouraging Clark to exact some sort of measure of comfort after him training for 6 months and not getting the chance to run his race because there was this interference, which I think was accidental. So this could have been a really explosive situation. And so I think the people in the grey shirts, these are the track officials, the KC team management, including in particular Jeremy DeLissa, the long jump coach, and the Calabar team officials who were down there, did brilliant work.
Gentlemen, was the eventual ruling, the final ruling, in your view, was it acceptable?
For me, because there was encouragement to Clark to keep on going back to the epicenter, I thought that whether it was Issa's responsibility to do a disciplinary action and take him out of the meet, if that had happened, I don't think any neutrals would have been uncomfortable with that.
Okay. All right. As we wind down, gentlemen, your thoughts on the fact that Heidel won the girls' trophy for the first time and that KC won the boys' trophy for the 34th time, I believe. Mr. Green?
Boy, I mean, I can't find adjectives, to shout accolades upon Heidel High. Corey Bennett did very well. He has been knocking at the door. He has lost several championships by, 5 points, 3 points, 1 point, sort of a thing. And he did it this time. And big up to Corey, big up to Hyacinth Bennett, who is in charge. Big up to Dr. Small, who was principal at Woolman's, was on the track team and won boys champs. I think it was in 2010 that happened. And, he's there at Heidel as principal and he did well. And we just big them up and just, and he's also the coach of Calabar.
Right.
Corey Bennett, yes.
That's one of the discussion. But it's a lot.
Very well.
Well done to Kingston College. Their coach Leifert Grant wins champ on his birthday, April 1. Brilliant. And a top side coming in there with lots of quality. And on the girls' side, Corey Bennett, tremendous, has been working hard. Heidel started his champs program in 13 years ago.
Yes.
And gradually come up into the top level. And the last 5-6 years, a top class team. Really great work by them, and a special compliment to Anika Makinov, Captain Fantastic, for being so good for a team for so long.
Excellent.
Yeah. So overall, how would you grade Champs 2023 out of 10? 10 being the highest, Mr. Lawrence, and then Mr. Green.
A little scrappy, a 7.5.
Mr. Green.
I think Hubert is generous. I'll give it a 7.25.
Not much different.
1.25% of a point generous.
Is that passing grade for both of you and around a B?
I think a B. Champ sends a signal to Jamaica that Jamaica's home for business.
That's right.
We put on our top products at the highest level, that we need to improve, but we're on our way. And that's what Champ said.
Well, I have to be out my way. Gentlemen, thank you very much for interesting insightful discussion. Have a productive day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guest. I'm Dylan Toussaint, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Chukal Daya.